Okay, welcome to our council meeting, September 26, 2023. First of all, I would like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Robinson Superior Treaty Territory and that the land on which we gather is traditional territory of the Anishinaabe and the Métis. Can I have approval of agenda for the open session? We're all good with that. Any disclosures of interest moving forward in the open session? Hearing none, we have no delegations, and before we move into the question period, you'll notice a new person on to my right. This is Rosalie Evans. She's going to be our acting CAO / clerk while we're job hunting for that position. She's well qualified. We'll move on to question period. No questions, Rosalie?
I had none come to me.
Okay. Okay, so we'll get right into it. Resolution 304-23. Moved by Councillor Bourgeau, seconded by Councillor Morrow, that the minutes of the special council meeting held September 6, 2023 be accepted as circulated. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 305-23, moved by Councillor Bryson, seconded by Councillor McGrath, that the minutes of the council and committee of the whole meeting held September 12, 2023 be accepted as circulated. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Carried. Any business arising from the minutes? Move on to committee of the whole recommendations from September 12th. Resolution 306-23. Moved by Councillor Bourgeau, seconded by Councillor Morrow, that council approve the expenditure request and approval to proceed from the Ontario Clean Water Agency for Schreiber's water treatment SCADA and nuisance alarms / flow sensors in the amount of $5,133.95, including applicable taxes. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Carried. That was 306, sorry.
306.
Okay, good. Resolution 307-23, moved by Councillor McGrath, seconded by Councillor Bryson, that council approve the expenditure request and approval to proceed from the Ontario Clean Water Agency for Schreiber water treatment power interruption / PLC troubleshooting in the amount of $3,917.76, including applicable taxes. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 308, 23, moved by Councillor Burgeot, seconded by Councillor Morrow. The council approve the expenditure request and approval to proceed from the Ontario Clean Water Agency for Schreiber Water Treatment PLC analog card replacements in the amount of $5,976.18, including applicable taxes. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 309-23, moved by Councillor Bryson, seconded by Councillor McGrath. The council approved the expenditure request and approval to proceed from the Ontario Clean Water Agency for Schreiber water treatment and emergency filter valve maintenance in the amount of $3,748.74, including applicable taxes. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 310-23, moved by Councillor Morrow, seconded by Councillor Burgeot. The council authorized the payment of McCullough's Tree and Custom Sawmilling Services invoice number 01 for tree removal and branch trimming in the amount of $12,300, excluding applicable taxes. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 311-23, moved by Councillor Morrow, seconded by Councillor Burgeot, that bank debits paid out in the general bank account yeah.
It got caught on the paper.
Yeah. So you just have to change what we
I'll
have on
just-
that one. Yeah, that's 312 now.
Okay. Sorry about that. We'll redo that. Resolution 311-23, moved by Councillor McGrath, seconded by Councillor Morrow, that the Council of the Township of Schreiber support Resolution 2023-07 of the Northwestern Ontario Municipal Association with respect to the housing initiative. Discussion? All those in favor? I find it ironic that this is the one that I missed.
I know.
Because it was 3 pages?
Yeah.
Carried. Accounts for payment. Resolution 312-23. Moved by Councillor Morrow. Seconded by Councillor Burgeot, that bank debits paid out of the general bank account in the month of August 2023 in the amount of $32,675.98 be approved and ratified. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 313-23, Moved by Councillor Bryson, seconded by Councillor McGrath. The council approved the purchase of a floral arrangement for Rosie's and Josie's Restaurant and Catering in the amount of $73.45, including applicable taxes. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Move on to, there's no unfinished business. Move on to other business. Resolution 314-23. Moved by Councillor Bourgeau, second by Councillor Morrow, that bylaw 40-2023 being a bylaw to authorize the execution of agreement between the Corporation of the Township of Schreiber and Automation now be enacted. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 315-23, moved by Councillor Bryson, seconded by Councillor McGrath, that bylaw 41-2023 being a bylaw to adopt an accessibility plan and to rescind bylaw 24-2022 be enacted. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. So now we'll move into our committee of the whole portion of the meeting. We'll do our department reports and committee / board minute meetings, or board minutes. Number 1, Treasury Report. October 26, 2023 tax sale. Treasurer report. There's no recommendations. It's
just for information purposes.
okay.
Does that include that minimum tender amount? Does that include anything that was left behind on the property?
This is just taxes, property taxes, or utility billing.
Okay. So, okay, I'm confused then. So you're selling this property for taxes?
Yes, this is it. So this is a tax sale through the municipal tax or municipal act.
Yes.
So the Township of Schreiber does not own this property. We are advertising it for sale because the property taxes have not been paid to us on this property. So a property becomes eligible for tax registration if they are more than 2 years in arrears.
Yeah.
So the tax sale happens about 16 months after the arrear certificate is registered on title. That's where we are right now. So we're offering it up for sale for the minimum tender amount.
Okay, so the question was, does that include, it includes the property, everything that's on the property?
What do you mean by on the property?
Like anything that, like boats or trailers or anything that's left on?
We sell the property. We do not determine ownership of anything that's physically stored on the property or anything like that. We have nothing to do with that.
Okay.
But Marlene, if we, let's say we're successful and we get a bid, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's $10,000 more. We have to actually take that step to assume ownership before we sell it?
Nope.
We don't?
Not in a tax sale. You do not do that. In a tax sale, We basically are being the realtor in the situation.
Okay,
So it's different than a failed tax sale where there wasn't any tenders received and then the municipality decides to vest in it, and then we take ownership over. In this situation, we're just at the point where we're advertising it for sale and waiting for people to,
put in bids.
put in a tender in the proper format. It's a very prescribed, very regulated process.
Okay.
So we give no guarantees to what this property includes.
Yep, exactly in bold, except as follows: the municipality makes no representation regarding the title to or any other matters relating to the land to be sold.
Okay, so-
Responsibility.
Buyer beware then. All right.
Yeah, responsibility for ascertaining these matters rests with potential purchasers.
Correct.
Okay, number 2 is the treasury's report for property tax write-offs. And there is a recommendation with that, the council authorize the write-off of property taxes in the amount of $2,933 for the following accounts.
Do you have to read them up?
I don't think you necessarily do,
No.
but Marlene, these 1, 2, 3 properties, this is due totally to MPAC reassessments, that's what I read.
That's correct.
We're not selling tax property, we're just reassigning it because it's been changed.
That's correct.
What's the CX class?
Commercial vacant land.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we're good with that, we're good with the recommendation that we authorize the write-off of the property taxes.
I'm good.
Dave, Mandy?
Yeah.
Okay. Director of Operations report, number 3, the status update. So I see the splash pad has been shut down for the season.
Yes,
That went well.
very well.
Okay.
Do our guys start it back up in the spring? or
No,
do
in
they
the
come and
spring,
do that?
ABC will be back in the spring again as part of the warranty to teach us how to commission it again.
Gotcha. Make sure it's running all good after the winter and everything?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, and we didn't decide at the last meeting. We have to decide on the road closure.
Right, I had
If-
some questions, so Rosalie and I'm guessing Tammy probably provided this additional information, so maybe we could go over some of that. About closing the road, what the procedure is.
Want to review it? Okay, so, roads are closed with a bylaw. Historically, the municipal act set out that you had to have a public meeting, prior to, you had to give notice to people who were potentially impacted by the road closure so they could attend the public meeting. And then, after the public meeting, council could make up its decision if they wanted to close the road or not, and if you did want to close the road, there would be a bylaw passed. The bylaw doesn't take effect to close the road until it gets registered at the land registry office. And there's a couple of other requirements in the municipal act if the road leads to federal land or is next to federal land or bridges or waterways and things like that, but I don't think this particular road is. I've seen it, but I don't think it goes to any federal land.
Well,
So-
it doesn't go, but I mean, there's CB rails, federal land, right?
I think so.
Well,
It's the railway company.
private
isn't it?
land.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's federally regulated.
yeah. What they're talking about is a federal park or a
Okay.
federal
Oh,
bridge
yeah.
or a federal road, like a federal
Okay.
highway.
Okay.
So, the municipal act changed in 2006 so that you don't have, it doesn't prescribe anymore that you have to have a public meeting. But it does prescribe that you have to have a notice bylaw that sets out when you're gonna have public meetings. So I did look at the notice bylaw today, and it doesn't say anything about road closures, but I would strongly recommend you not pass a bylaw to close a road without having a public meeting first.
Correct.
So when we're talking about impact, there's no real residential houses that are next off that road, right? It's pretty much just land now, and that the town owns, correct?
Yeah, it's just.
Correct, the fire department's got their storage shed there, and the outdoor arena, but at the end, which they can access the other way, is the CP tool house.
There's three addresses there on the CP land.
Pardon me?
I think there's 3 addresses there on the CP land, but they can all be accessed from the other end.
So I think that's where the public meeting is probably a good idea, because you're gonna want to have Jan speak to, is there an impact to firefighting by closing that road?
I could speak to that.
We're gonna have an impact maybe with recreation, right? Is there an impact to closing that, and will there be questions about how we access that outdoor arena?
Snow removal.
We're gonna have to talk to Public Works for snow removal. I would suggest if we're right up against CP Rail, it's probably good to have them. I think a public meeting is probably the way to go. But it's going to definitely be it's gonna be a longer process than
Yeah.
just putting up a which might be a bit of a concern at this point.
Can't we just reopen the road for this?
No,
winter?
no, we can, for sure, but we decided we were gonna think about,
Mhm.
like, especially
Is
if
it possible?
we're gonna keep moving rapidly forward with the open air pavilion. and-
Yeah, I agree, like, once
And,
that's
and,
there.
but I don't know if if that's in the cards for next year or the year after, so, I mean, it's not
The other-
that urgent right now, I guess.
No.
But if it takes time, it's probably time to get started now.
Well, how long, and you said we'd have to put it in or the registry too?
The bylaw has to be registered at the land registry office before it is official.
And usually how long does that take?
Oh, no, it doesn't take long at all.
Okay.
Everything's done electronically now.
Okay.
You're not even allowed to go to the land registry office anymore, it's closed to the public, you have to do everything online.
The other thing is, what kind of traffic do we get through there? Is it truck traffic that's servicing CP, or
That's the thing,
if
right?
if it's heavy truck traffic through that area, I mean, that could be an issue with the whole facility, which is looking pretty good right now.
Yeah,
It's brand new, how beat up is it gonna get?
yeah.
If all it is heavy truck traffic through there.
Well, that's the one thing. I did have a conversation with Corey today, and they don't care one way or another. They said as far they really don't care. I mean, we're closing it. They're not gonna risk ripping up any lockstone or anything like that. Opening it, they're not gonna move unless we tell them. They're not gonna move them big stones or anything. So that's gonna eliminate some of them big trucks, because the way I looked at it, the big trucks were running over the curb in our valves, trying to make the corner anyway, so if that big stone's in the way, they're not, either that or you're gonna have a lot of repairs. And
I don't see it being an issue for anybody. I mean, it can be accessed from the other side, and there's lots of room for trucks to turn, and you can pull in by the old curling club and come back out on whatever street that is.
Manitoba, yeah.
Yeah, like,
yeah, actually, I heard positive comments from some of the CP rail people.
yeah, it's,
I mean, no, but Anne Marie's right too. I got the police, we got the ambulance.
Mhm.
If it's gonna be a whole process, they might want, if we decide that this is a good thing, then you might wanna get started sooner than later.
If we want it closed for the winter, yeah, but
But, I mean, even going,
That's the
it'd be
first
nice if we were gonna close it, and we made that decision as a council, that we could, let's say, the very beginning of spring, okay, that road's closed. we've done everything, everything's in place, it's been registered, we're ready to rock and roll.
Well, it's always, in my point of view, it's always gonna be closed in the spring, whether it be May 15th or June 1st. It's always gonna be closed in the spring, because
Just-
of the
yeah, this
traffic.
would, this would be
and,
more permanent, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and the community was very accepted to that, as far as I know.
And then if you do close the road then you're gonna get, you have your public meeting and you're gonna hear both sides or maybe one side. And then,
but you could at least get more information.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then at the end of the year, or maybe you're gonna get comments. And if it becomes an issue, I guess you could,
From what I seen, it was industrial traffic, and it was a high-speed throughway
Yeah.
to the other side of town,
Yeah.
yeah,
is all it really
Well,
was.
people just cruising
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
But if it becomes an issue that it needs to be reopened, we can do that too.
I didn't think about those big rocks, but in the winter, those big rocks could do some damage to any vehicle going through
Oof.
there, actually.
and then some, yeah, even a snow
Es-
machine.
Especially if it's, the road is slippery. or
Well, no, you
something.
can't forget that snow machine that went through the park,
Yeah.
Rhinebeck Park
Yeah.
last year, and hit one of them rocks, and then phoned the office and said, you better mark your rocks. Or you should stay off the,
Yeah, that's what I think, that instance goes right back to why we should be looking at permanent closure.
Yeah.
Honestly. Tammy, do you have any input?
When I spoke with Public Works, it doesn't make any difference to them for snow or otherwise, and I think if you're going to make that, that's just my opinion, but if you're gonna make that, to go through what you have to go through for a road closure, you're best to make it a permanent road closure, so you're not going to the land registry every time you change. And we could, the orange gates are movable, they blow over in the wind. It would be better if we could make it more of a permanent structure, blocking off that section of road, whether it be the decorative rocks, but it would be bigger rocks so that you wouldn't have a snow machine hitting it. You could identify the barricade before you hit it.
Right.
The other rocks are pretty low to the ground and get buried by snow.
so, well, if you guys want
I know.
to go around the table, you guys want to proceed with trying to close the road for this winter, I'm all for that.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Dave?
Yeah, I'm good, yeah.
Yeah, I
Benji?
haven't seen any negative impact so far, and don't
Anne
see
Marie?
anything coming.
I'm good with closing it for the winter.
So we can ask administration to come back with whatever we have to do, public meeting.
I like to, I guess that would be the second thing, I'd like to see it closed permanently. Close this winter, but then close permanently, moving forward. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I think it's just
Well-
gonna get beat up
Yeah.
with
That
that.
would just be one step.
It's important if you're going to have a public meeting that you don't fetter your discretion by making your mind up before you listen to the public.
True.
So if
True.
the direction to administration should be, hold a public meeting, we'll have to advertise it for the purposes of determining whether or not to close the road,
Okay,
right?
Yeah,
so a
Because,
temporary closure now, moving towards something different.
yeah,
Okay.
good idea.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
if you could, and then we'll go from there.
So, temporary closure now.
I
And
think
how
it's,
did- And how did you say that, Rosalie? We want to give you direction to,
To prepare the notice and have, have a public meeting. I don't know how council, if you like to have your public meetings on the Tuesday nights that you don't have a council meeting, or if you want to, it depends.
correct me if I'm wrong, we have public meetings right at the start of our council meetings, so we're different.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
can we incorporate it into a regular council meeting?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
yeah,
As part of the committee of the whole?
yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's usually at the start of the agenda, is it not?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, just close it right away.
And I think we're temporary closed right until October 31st, if I remember correctly.
We are.
So, yeah, because the swing sets are still up over there.
So if we're going to close it for the winter months,
Well, we don't know, we're gonna have the public meeting.
I thought you were having a public meeting for the spring permanent closure. Did I misunderstand that?
One of us did.
That's what Anne Marie said.
Yeah, I'm thinking, we all agree that we wanna close it for the winter, right?
Yeah,
But Rosalie is suggesting, if you're looking for a permanent closure, that's a separate activity that she's gonna get them working on.
Okay.
So if we close for the winter, we'll have to change the orange barricades to something that will be sturdy in the winter wind.
Okay.
Do we want Tammy to come, maybe at the next meeting and have us some recommendations?
Yeah. Yeah.
For
'cause-
barricades, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just gonna have to be a cement barricade, right? What other options are there?
Yeah, but I mean, it could be that decorative rock, it could be them, Miller precast barriers,
Okay.
like what we got at the beach. Just
Right.
their drive there,
Oh,
with
yeah,
a
yeah. Right.
stop sign on them, or.
That's two things.
And I see everything's ready with the Discovery Center once it shuts down.
Yeah, I'll be making arrangements to have it cleaned. We'll do some maintenance in there, and so we'll probably aim for having the water turned off for October 13th. And we'll have the water shut off at the garden at the same time.
That sump pump got installed, right, at the Discovery Center?
Yes, the sump pump is installed. It is plugged in and ready to activate as soon as it senses water. And it is plumbed to the outside of the building. If it activates, then we will extend that pipe so it doesn't wash out the grass immediately by the building, but we have a plan in place.
Awesome.
And the arena roof, the guys are gonna patch it, you said, Tammy?
Well, there was another company has come to light, so I've been inquiring with them as to the best course that we can take to secure it for the winter months, or if they're willing to do the work this fall. They seemed interested, so I'm just waiting for a response from them. Failing that, then yes, our guys will get up there with a can of tar and do their best at patching visual holes.
While we're awaiting. Okay.
Yeah.
And I see Mark was the only one for winter sand again.
Yes,
The price is good.
yep. There was a small increase, not much.
Yeah. But I mean, right.
And that's later, okay. Concession? The arena concession?
That doesn't close yet until October 11, but I usually don't get proposals until the day of.
Okay.
So I can't say one way or the other if we're going to see any proposals come in.
Right.
We do have a backup plan.
Okay. And I think the last question I had was about the GPS cameras in vehicles. So the transfer into the rec truck from the old rec truck to the new one?
Yeah, the camera in the old rec truck wasn't working, so we've upgraded the camera because we've noticed some issues with the install from last year on all of the vehicles. So, and it had to do with downloading the data. If ever you had to go and pull some video from the camera, you can only download 18 seconds at a time, which was not disclosed at the time of that purchase. So these upgraded cameras come with an SD card, so you can actually go and pull the card and get your data that you need. So we're just trying this one, we haven't paid any more for it, it was a swap for warranty.
That
So
was
we're
my
just
question. Okay.
trying it for now and see how it works for us. And then, but the Handy Transit is new equipment going into that one. We missed that one last year when we installed in all of the vehicles. It only came to light after it was in the accident.
But since we're ordering a new unit, that unit could be transferred onto the new unit when it comes in.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Anybody else got any? And so you're working on the insurance renewal, eh?
Yes.
Okay. Move on to 2013 Silverado. Number 4, Director of Operations report, surplus. A recommendation, you see the recommendation there, is put it on Gov Deals at the opening bid of $1,000.
That just means that, when I say opening bid of 1,000, that just means that they get notice on the web, like, so somebody can't come along and bid $500. It's not a valid bid until it reaches that 1,000, and then from there it climbs. But the truck does have a lot of mechanical issues with it, which I would have to disclose in the listing.
Yeah, you're looking at the odometer, it doesn't seem so bad, or the pictures, they don't seem so bad.
Yeah.
6,000. That was kind
Yeah.
of my thoughts, like, I know we don't wanna maintain a junkyard, but is there anything on this truck that could be of use down the road? I mean, a mirror on a truck is $1,000 now. You know, I don't know, it's just a thought, like, we could, is there anything that could be used from that truck on the new one? I know that the age is quite different, probably not, but I
Yeah.
think it's worth.
How are the tires on that truck? Are they better?
They,
says they're
they're
shot.
done
They're
too,
shot, eh?
yeah.
Yeah.
The list of equipment that you
Yeah.
guys are looking at is not extraordinary. It's not. When I look at that list, in my head, I know what that dollar value is. And so, just
You
being
mean-
facetious,
You
I
mean
said,
30 you mean
if
30.
the minimum bid's 1,000, as a counselor, am I allowed to bid it? Because I'll fix it and sell it and make more money than you guys will. Because I think there's money on the table. I blue booked this thing, and trucks are going for a premium. Can we raise the minimum bid?
Absolutely, yep, this
That would
is
make
just a
me feel better,
recommendation.
honestly, for the
Yeah.
girl who's going shopping at used cars herself right now.
So what would it cost to repair it if somebody bought it?
I'm thinking if you bought this because you wouldn't put new tires on and you'd use aftermarket parts, I'm gonna guess that without having somebody look at that cylinder, which I kind of suspect I know what's wrong with it, you're probably looking at $5,000 for repairs.
Yeah.
The truck books for 12. It's got low mileage. For that year, it's got a lot of low mileage. And that's a regular clad, plain Jane, it's got nothing, but that's still booking that high. So I would think, personally, I would feel better if we could just raise the minimum bid even to 2,000.
Yeah.
Because I think, I guess, Tammy, you have more experience dealing with gov deals than I do. If we put a minimum bid down, does that often just rise because there's considered value and stuff? Or is that really what we just get,
No,
traditionally?
I've never had just the bare minimum dollar that I set it at. It always bids come in. I mean, we did very well with the loader. I think we doubled our price on the loader. It's always been higher than the minimum bid. I can put the minimum bid at whatever you guys decide at.
I'm not saying raise it to $5,000, but I'm saying it'd be nice to raise it even to 2 or 3. I don't know, what do you guys think?
Well, I agree, I mean,
Look at that list.
I think the tailgate's worth $500.
Can't raise it.
People steal them all the time.
Yeah, exactly. You go to a record, you get one for $100, you get your buddy to paint it, ta-da, you're done.
Yeah.
Can't raise it too high, or we're gonna be sitting around with junk. Telling people to
Yeah.
get rid of junk, and we got junk.
No, I don't wanna raise it too high.
No,
No, I
I'm okay
don't.
with 2 or 2,500, but you gotta be careful of what we're doing here too.
I don't care.
Yeah,
I know.
that's a reasonable amount, that's fine. If you're, Tammy, if you think that's reasonable, 2,000,
2,000? Yep,
that's
I do.
reasonable, and that's fine. I'm okay with that.
I am too, thank you. It's not a huge list. I know it looks huge, but it's not.
Okay.
Okay, Director of Operations reports Schreiber solid waste collection.
So you got a meeting, yes, tomorrow.
I have a meeting tomorrow with them again, yeah.
What do you, what's the planned meeting? Like, what's the plan for tomorrow?
We discussed possible numbers, and they wanted to discuss in private, not at the
Yes.
table, whether or not they were willing to accept the proposal. So tomorrow I'll find about that, and I also sent them a copy of the contract. They were gonna read through it and determine if there were any changes needed. So it's just further discussion.
So Tammy, why are we collecting garbage 3 days a week? Is it more for the commercial part of it?
The history that I got from the contractor is that businesses wanted the multiple day pickups, but for the quantity that we collect, we could fit it in the truck in one day.
No. Like, it just seems odd that a community with more households is getting everything done in one day, and it's taking us 3 days, so. And if he's doing it 1 or 2 days rather than 3, should be a substantial savings.
Savings.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
that's
he
what-
welcomed that change.
Yeah,
So currently we do Wednesdays
imagine.
residential, commercial Tuesday and Friday.
That should just be once.
So we could do it all in one day, and I would
Just be
suggest keeping it on the Wednesday.
Well, everything in one day. But-
Oh, you're thinking do residential and business in one day?
Yeah, that's what they,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
that's what they do.
Cool.
yeah,
Yeah, that's even better.
That's-
I thought you meant commercial just one day and residents another day, but just one day for everything is way better.
Yeah, we could do it all in one day. He was also gonna talk to his crew to see if he could make that work, but he personally liked it.
typically, how long would that day be?
It would be probably an 8-hour day by the time they got to the landfill to dump.
So otherwise, these 3 days are less, half a day, or?
Yeah, he said like a big day would be 3 hours on a commercial day. They do 4 to 5 hours on a residential day.
It makes sense to me to go to, like, if she's looking for
Yeah.
ideas and which option she should pursue, I think
Yeah.
making that change off the hop is gonna be huge.
Yeah, and see what it,
I really have no taste for any other option but dealing with option one, to be honest.
I know, I know.
That's me personally, but
if we can get that price down
Yeah,
to a
yeah.
reasonable amount, yeah. And reducing, yeah, so I guess we'll see what comes out of your meeting, and
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I can't make a decision until you have that meeting, I guess.
yeah, I agree.
So move to one day collection. 1 day per week
If the mayor has something he wants to
collection. Yeah, he does.
say. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, no, the 1 day, the 1 day is no brainer. I mean, Terrace Bay, they collect all their businesses and then go on to the residential. Like, I mean, you don't have to do it that way. You can start on the north side of town and go south, and I agree with the numbers Tammy did, because that was my career after I retired for 3 months.
But it would bring the cost of the
Well, it
new
should.
contract down, right?
You would think
It
so.
should.
It should.
So we
It
made
should.
that
I
change.
mean, you're gonna have to talk to the business, or you don't have to talk to the businesses, but they're going to have a concern that they're not getting picked up on Tuesday and Friday, 2 days, you know.
And
But I
we-
mean,
Well, do you wanna pay more
cost-
taxes for more garbage?
Yeah,
Right.
well,
Right.
that goes for a lot of things.
Yeah, I know.
And our second option with a different provider than the one we're currently using is also, I know I can see you doing that already, but it's also 1 day.
Yes,
So at least then, if we bring our current contractor to 1 day, we're comparing apples to apples, are we not?
all of the options are 1 day. pickup.
1 day,
Yeah.
okay. And I agree with you. It would be nice to stay with our current provider. If we
I
could.
mean, it's the one service I've never heard a complaint about ever,
And it,
ever.
yeah, and it's been guaranteed.
Yeah.
He did say this is probably going to be his last 5-year term, that he
Yeah.
plans to retire after this next one, so it is something that we're gonna have to think
Yeah.
about on how we proceed.
Yeah.
And we'll buy his garbage.
And he's let you know, he wants to go with a 5-year?
Yeah, is there any comment or direction on the recycling?
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Where are you sitting with that?
I have contacted the MECP, RPRA. Those are 2 different organizations that take care of the Blue Box program. Schreiber has fallen through the cracks only because we were so integrated with Terrace Bay's program. They were reporting all of the numbers and that kind of stuff, so as far as the government was concerned, they didn't really know that we were doing a recycling program. We are eligible to transition because we were doing the recycling as of August of 2019. So it's just painting a picture for the ministry so that they are aware that we were doing the program, and we can then opt out of the recycling program, which means that the producer responsibility would pay to have somebody come and collect we would literally be able to wash our hands of it.
Yeah.
They pay and secure a contract, they come and do curbside pickup within the township and take it away.
So that's my question, we're not there yet.
No, we're hoping that we can transition with Terrace Bay in July of 2024 so that we don't have any interruption to our residents. That's the goal, but I haven't gotten any answers from the ministry yet.
But they know of,
They're working on it.
they know of the whole situation.
They do now, yes.
Okay.
Because we have been utilizing and sharing recycling with Terrace Bay.
Yes.
But I think this is timely in so much as, I don't know how you guys feel, I think it's time, we've often talked about looking at it, making our own recycling program.
We have?
You have one?
No, we don't.
But we should, do you not think? Have a better recycling program
A better one?
than what we've got, which is basically no, but I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
how anybody else, I don't think it's really working.
No, it's not.
The program that we've got right now, which is, for instance, I collect boxes, right? I flatten them, I keep them at home. I collect cans, I wash them, I put them in a bag. On the third Thursday, they go onto the street. Our guys come around and pick them up, and then they go to the landfill. Whether they fit into a sea can or not, totally optional.
Yeah, and there's no one checking to see if everything is allowed in those bags and stuff. Yeah, no, it's a flawed system the way it is. I'm not denying
So
it.
say the contractor's GFL comes down here, like, if we get accepted into that program and they're the contractor, they're gonna come down
No
here.
problem.
I would assume that, once they're done collecting here, they're zooming back up Thunder Bay, they're not gonna go dump it down
Right?
at Terrace, so I mean, we're saving at the landfill there,
Absolutely.
we're saving all around, so.
Mhm. That's what I mean, if we figure this out, I think it would be smart then at that point for us to say, it's important to recycle. Our cost of our garbage is going up, garbage collection is going up, that's what we're looking at, right? The cost of the landfill we've got licenses and things that we've gotta pay for. Instead of having to raise taxes, if we brought a more solid or better understood education to the public, I'm not saying it has to be in stone, but education to the public where everybody is doing more recycling, then I think overall you're gonna save costs in the long run. Like I've driven around on the third Thursday.
I think you're gonna get a lot more. I
Yeah.
can tell you right now that, I know people out there very close to
Mhm.
that don't recycle anymore because it gets dumped in the dump.
Right,
Or I shouldn't say it gets dumped in the dump, but the story sometimes is it gets dumped in the dump and.
because those sea
So
cans are
why
full.
go through all that stuff?
Right.
But if you get a big truck outside picking up your recycling and bringing it back to Thunder Bay, you know it's getting recycled.
Right.
So how often, like this program, how often do they come to pick up your recycling? Do you know any of that?
Terrace Bay has alluded that it would follow exactly the same protocol that they have in place now, which would be once a month. Through my conversations with our PRA, they indicated that depending on the volume that we can encourage our residents to recycle, they would then come twice in a month. So it depends on how much our residents buy into the recycling program. Saves on our solid waste collection and it saves on our tipping.
Fees at the landfill.
Yeah.
Cause I see that going hand in hand with the next thing you have,
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
right?
That's
Yeah.
exactly it, she's
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
It's gonna drive that.
Because not to be mean, but I've driven around on a Thursday, there's not a lot of people recycling.
Yeah.
There isn't. But I think if we encouraged people and
Yeah.
did an education type thing, more people would if they know, this is gonna save the money.
Yeah, it's easier just to throw it in the trash.
Sure it is. But we've done it forever, right?
Yeah.
Because then we get on to, finally, administration seeks direction on implementing bag tags. Next year.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it until we know that thing's happening.
Well, we need more information, but
Yeah.
I guess, so is that the direction we wanna take? Find more information before we make a decision on
Yeah, I
bag
think
tags?
so.
What do you think, Lenny?
Yeah, no, it's, I really wanna wait and see what we're doing with
Yeah.
the recycling, cause like I say, I know a lot of people,
Oh, I
not
do
a
too.
lot, but I
I
know
know
some
lots,
people
I think
that
that's honest.
quit. But I mean, there is people out there who's like, I went out the first time when we collected recycling, there's 34 bags throughout the whole town. They fit them all in the back of the half ton and brought them to the dump. That's the very
500
first time
544 households.
so, I don't
Right.
know. But it'll get better, it's education, it'll get better, and people see that, big green truck or whatever outside, and they know it's going to be recycled, that's my take on it anyway. Yeah, so I think we gotta wait and see what tomorrow brings for, like, it all fits.
Yeah.
It all fits, and we'll see where we're at, money-wise, and for solid waste pickup, the recycling, and it all fits together. So you're good with that, Tammy?
Yep, thank you.
That was a good report, Tammy.
That was very good.
Thank you.
Excellent report. Okay, winter sand, number 6, Director of Operations, winter sand report. Like, this price has gone up a little bit, and so has the
Not
price of
much.
fuel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not much, honestly, yeah.
And he bids year in, year out. It's always there and ready to go, so no problem there. Everybody good?
Yep.
Okay, recreation programmer report. Recreation, council direct the recreation programmer to have the dance instructor complete the program instructor contract attached. Rose, you said you and Evan were gonna,
Yeah, so, Councillor Bourgeois had said that this contract was rather simplistic. I agree it is. And that previous reports to council, there had been more robust contracts, and for one thing, and a requirement that the provider have insurance. So I did speak with Evan. He wasn't sure where it was. I did do some searching around in Mr. Diaz's computer to see if I could find some other contracts. I found where he and Evan had come up with this template, but I couldn't find another one. But Anne Marie brought me one
That was
just
just
before the
signed,
council meeting.
it was just done in.
That was done in the summer.
Yeah.
So Evan and I can work with that and make it fit. I thought this person might already have insurance because she apparently does this instructing at other locations.
yeah,
But
I think we just want to ensure, and I think part of that contract is ensuring that, yes, they have their own insurance.
and then I spoke to Evan as well about waivers. That when people sign up, they would just say, I'm signing a waiver. And he has done that for other programs too, and there's a parental one to sign if the person is a minor who's taking the class. So their parent would have to sign it. And I think we take the registrations here, so we can have them sign the waiver when they come in to register. So if you want to defer that one to the next meeting, then I can come up with the contract that is a little more robust than this one, and we can have further conversation with the provider.
Or is
to
that
see-
gonna delay her starting her program?
Well, I think she wanted to start on the 27th, right?
Yeah.
Which is tomorrow.
Yeah, so
I think I've seen somewhere start on the 2nd,
I think
but
next
obviously
week, I
the
think next
2nd is
week
a
was,
holiday now,
Mhm.
next
so.
week was when it was gonna
Yeah,
start.
it wouldn't take, it's not going to take much. I mean, it's
Yeah,
just a
I
couple of
just don't wanna
questions.
delay it anymore.
No.
Well, then, I would recommend that it says with a contract to be developed by the recreation programmer and
Yeah.
acting CAO clerk.
I'm okay with
Yeah.
that.
That works.
Is everybody okay with, I had some thought, like we have to put, some money, and they are too, but I thought the 80-20 was a little rich. We can go 70-30 or something.
Ah,
Like we gotta sink some money into the room.
Right.
do we know anything about that yet moving forward? Not yet, right? We're still working on that?
No, we gotta wait for that too. But I mean, is that, like, did we negotiate that, or is that just,
Do you know, Rosalie?
I think that's the
I don't-
standard, I think it's like a standard one that you do with, like a fitness instructor who runs a program in our gyms or whatever, like with Brenda. I think it's the same type of,
Same type of split?
yeah, I think, is what he alluded to when I was talking to him.
Marlene, do you have any
Is that-
input?
Is that
I
correct?
think it's 70/30.
Pardon me?
Yeah?
I think it's 70/30,
Oh,
I'm pretty
okay.
sure.
or it's,
That was the other thing that that Evan said was, we have someone else who's in the building who provides a cardio workout, and that person doesn't, we have not required them to have insurance. So if we are gonna require it of this person, we're gonna have to require it across the board.
I thought that we did have that individual provide the WSIB clearance.
WSIB is not the same thing.
Okay.
No.
Yeah,
My concern is, my child is taking a dance class,
She has insurance.
they break their legs, something happens. Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty positive. Cause she's a business.
Okay, I just wanna make sure that she does.
Okay. Yeah, that's
That's
fair.
what
But you know what I'm saying, that
Yeah.
if someone falls and gets hurt,
That's what we need to know, otherwise we're on the hook, right?
but the same would apply for the cardio class, wouldn't it?
would it,
Yeah.
would it, I'm guessing it would.
Yeah.
So, just to treat everybody the same. I wondered if she would already have insurance and it's just a question of having her insurer
Just-
send us a certificate that puts our name on it. That's pretty simple for her to do,
Yeah.
doesn't cost anything. But if she doesn't have insurance, it can be expensive.
Do we have a, Marlene, do we have a requirement that people who provide these services have insurance coverage, or are we just assuming that they do?
I don't know.
But, because the only thing we really looked at before is WSIB, right?
Yeah.
We don't, here's the thing, people, we don't wanna make it more difficult for people to use our municipal complex. I'm not trying to do that. My concern is, when I looked at the contract, for instance, that we signed with Superior North CFTC for rental of a room on a certain basis, right? There was all this insurance clause stuff in it, and it just made me think about this one, think, wait a second. Our insurance policy, there, Tam, does our insurance policy cover us?
For volunteers, we have to name them in the policy. But, I mean, we do ask for certificates of insurance from all the ice skating groups that go on the ice. The figure skating concession booth, they got a separate certificate for that. To my knowledge, we've gotten the insurance certificates from all the user groups that use the facility. Wasn't aware that the fitness wasn't providing one. I'm kind of surprised at that, because we do generally ask for, even when somebody rents our hall, we provide insurance costs to them. We buy a liquor insurance and we charge it back to the user. So we've always covered ourselves with the insurance.
And wasn't that part of the conversation with the poker run at Winter Carnival?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was to
Yeah.
make sure, so we should probably be making.
Yes, it was.
That's a good point, very good point.
I don't wanna make it harder for people to use the services.
No,
I
I'm not
just wanna
worried
make
about
sure-
this
Okay.
situation.
All right.
It's just the cardio thing might be an issue,
Yeah,
but that's not part of this discussion.
We'll cross that bridge when we come.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
okay. And
And I don't know.
And Marlene believes that the other split, to the mayor's comment, is 37.
For the cardio?
Yeah, but did Evan determine this with the instructor? Like they sat down, came up with this together?
I haven't got a clue.
No one's got a clue.
I'm pretty sure they did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, when I talked to Evan today, he said, good point. If we're putting money into the thing.
Yeah, no,
Whatever, I'm okay with
Well,
the
that's-
80-20, I just wanna be,
I think the gains greatly outweigh anything for the
I do too.
community.
Yes.
I do too.
Yeah, I'm not saying you don't. Yeah.
And this is only until January. The contract ends in January.
Let's go with the
Yeah.
80-20 and see what she does.
Yeah, and then she'll sign a second term one, is, I think, the idea,
Yeah.
right? It'll be a 2-term thing.
Thing.
No, I think it's great.
Yeah,
no,
I mean, and Dave and Benji, you guys are on recreation, you guys would know better, honestly. So,
But we have to, that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah, once we have a work plan in front of us.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we're good with that then?
Yes.
Okay, number 8. The report for funded projects, the status. So I guess we just gotta wait for, like, Marlene answered that.
The question, yeah, I had a question about downtown revitalization and the Discovery Center. Shoot, sorry. That's actually not on here, but guessing that those projects now, if they're completed, when the reports would go through. So Marlene provided a whole bunch of information about what it's gonna take to get those projects closed, to get that dollar amount. I guess at the end of the day, in your last line, in the event that a project is approved after an annual budget is passed, I guess that's my concern, because my understanding from what little I know about these two projects, between the Discovery Center and the downtown revitalization and the funders, I am guessing we're overspent.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Okay.
But-
So then,
Yeah.
so then here's my concern, because before you know it, it'll be budget time, that we're going to have to, the town's either gonna have to take some money out of reserves and borrow, or just borrow, or however that's going to look. And so I guess, I like the information that you provided. I guess what I'm more after, Marlene, is do you have an ETA? I would hate to pass a budget for 2024 in March and then find out we've got this astronomical loan payment that now we've got to recalculate everything.
Okay, so in your 2023 budget, you were bringing forward $656,000 of unfunded expenses for this project.
Okay?
So that's in your 2023 budget.
That's right.
Right? And in your 2023 budget, you were using $339,000 from your NWMO reserve fund, and you were borrowing just under 335. So I believe the last invoice is going to be approved tomorrow. I believe that the expense date is September the 30th, so we will pay that last expense tomorrow. And then we will sit down and look at everything, make sure that everything has been posted correctly in the GL, and that there isn't anything, for instance, ABC, we wouldn't be paying ABC in 24 to pay to show us how to start the water system up again. There's no warranty that has to be paid, there's no holdback on this project anymore.
No.
So we should be able to figure out what we're estimating is going to be coming from NOHFC and what is earned from FEDNOR, to have a better idea of what that final
Number
township
is.
portion is going to be. The claims, I believe, are not due until the end of the year, the final claims, but that doesn't mean that we can't sit down and figure out where we are on what earned revenue we have before that. And the other, not challenge, but the other potential is we could be putting expenses in as eligible expenses, and those expenses could be denied, so that may change your funding, how much is really the township portion.
So when do you think, ETA, when we would have a clearer idea of what these final numbers are gonna be? End of the year?
Well, the Pollyanna in me would say that would be something that I think that we can hopefully have for the end of October, an idea. Not that the claims would be through, but
But then we could look at a motion in November about how much we're going to have to borrow and what that payment could possibly be moving forward. So,
Or taken out of reserves.
or taken out of reserves, right? Because there is some money that we're using out of reserve.
that's what you budgeted.
Yeah,
and
we
we're using
got
that.
the NWMO money.
That's always been.
Yeah, that's going
That's
towards.
always
Mhm.
was going towards this project.
But it would at least, if she could come to us in early November with okay, so here's what we haven't, we've
Oh,
overspent.
no, I totally agree
Less
with,
that,
I
but
totally
we could
agree with
decide.
I totally agree with what you're
Yeah.
saying, but you said borrow.
Borrow or reserve.
Yeah.
Borrow
there's
and reserve, I'm
options.
not sure
Yeah,
how that
yeah,
will look, because we'll have to know, right?
yeah.
I would just like to see that decision made before we start finalizing next year's budget, because if we end up with a loan payment, it's gonna have an impact.
Yeah.
On a budget, so I could mark down November.
How about for the November the 14th meeting, which is the first meeting in November?
Just you would give a harder, we'd have a harder number, we'd have a better way to look at it. Okay.
Even though that the claims won't necessarily go in, and I know, I was talking with Kim this afternoon, and she was still waiting for some of the reviews to be done from FedNor as well.
Right.
Waiting for that, so again, but it should be,
It
we
should
should be
be,
able to get a pretty close to
Close
a
idea.
number, yeah.
okay. That was my only question about this report, sorry.
Perfect.
Yes.
And we got a couple defibrillators from Canadian Pacific Railway, that's great.
All right,
Put them at the library and one at Discovery Center.
I think they've been earmarked. I think one's going in a fire truck or something, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a third one
Yeah.
for,
Is there a
fire
third one
department,
too? Okay.
So this feasibility study, it needs to be done by the 30th of September? And the engineering people have not started their portion of it? Is this, am I reading this correctly?
Or,
So Kim
Pre-Cambrian?
needs, she needs an extension,
mhm.
unless they magically produce one in the next 3 days? Is that correct, how I'm reading this? Like,
Yeah,
per-
Kim has asked
Yeah.
me to draft an amendment to the contract.
Okay,
for them,
okay. So that's gonna
There's an
happen.
extension.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, 'cause, yeah, I'm just reading it like, do you need an extension? But no, an extension is going to happen.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Okay,
Okay.
we're all good with
That's a nice
that?
report, yeah.
This heating upgrade that's in progress, that's going well.
At the
Arena?
arena, yes, very well. Yeah, it's moving ahead quite nicely.
What are we looking at for completion on that?
We should be completed by mid to end November. They will be done on the ice surface by the time we turn the plant on. That's the plan.
When are they coming back?
They were supposed to be back on Wednesday this week, or last week, but they are waiting for some parts. So, of course, you know, supply chain, that is the challenge with every job that you do.
Yeah.
So, as soon as he gets his part, he'll be back again.
And I assume that that's gonna be the radiant heat they're waiting?
It's a different guy that will be coming to do the radiant heat. Ed is focusing on the boiler, the on-demand heaters and all the plumbing. I mean, Ed will oversee the radiant heat, but there's a different guy coming to do the venting and all that.
I was up there looking at the work Ed's done already. That guy's amazing.
He is.
Okay. Community Economic Development, number 8, we'll move on to the next business. Committee meeting minutes.
so we're looking for new members, and a list was put together of potential
At the meeting, yeah, we got 8
candidates.
people to call.
So we're looking for signage options for the Discovery Center. Everybody agrees with the signage is that's needed there, as well as any landscaping, not landscaping, but tree removal
Right, we talked about that.
that needs to take place, so that's ongoing. Looking for opportunities for Schreiber when the cruise ships, we did get an update on next year's cruise ship activity. So looking for opportunities to get them into Schreiber. And we'll be working with Superior Country on that, because Superior Country works with the cruise ships to come up with an itinerary. And the fall event for Schreiber Business Networking. We thought that it'd be a good idea to have a meet and greet with our new CAO whenever that's determined, so,
We kind of scheduled two things together.
yeah. And working, the FSPA is working on a report to council outlining the current signage that is installed on Highway 17. We did pull out it's not an old sign, but it's a sign that was produced years ago for Schreiber gateway signs. So we're taking a look at that, how we can use those signs
Mm-hmm.
and the cost and
Very
you know,
good.
to Terrace Bay to see what
What their cost
what
was.
cost was
Yeah.
on their signage.
We're looking at, like, so the thought behind doing this is looking at it and putting a proposal forward to council for consideration in next year's budget.
That's for the gateway sign?
Yeah,
That's for
Yes
that?
and no, there's been a couple of suggested
Yeah.
changes.
we're looking,
that.
we're looking at locations where they could go. I mean, there are gateway signs now,
Mm-hmm.
so anyway.
Yeah, no,
It's
okay.
very,
No, I-
very
I-
preliminary.
It's all part of the conversation.
Yeah,
you know,
just, it's all really preliminary.
what are the options, what are the opportunities, so.
You got, yeah, okay, because that sign's extra tall too, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And also looking at the MTO.
He tells us too big.
Hey?
Looking at it and the MTO concerns as well,
Mm-hmm.
if there are any concerns for them.
That was my point.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just very preliminary, honestly, very preliminary. But it was the idea behind, if you take a look at Kim's report prior to this, with status report on projects. So you were looking at all these different things that we're doing with trails, seniors, health fair, strategic planning, all that stuff. We're not suggesting that this would even happen very soon, but we're hoping that part of the strategic plan would flush out the need for an overall signage project,
Makes sense.
right? It's just something that the committee started talking about. But Dan started off with, we are looking for more volunteers, because we've lost one who's just too busy right now, so I think our more of our focus right now is trying to grow this committee.
Yeah, so carrying on Moonlight Madness, which is a Aquasauben Chamber of Commerce event. We will be reaching out to them to see if the committee can be of any assistance. And fundraising, looking for opportunities for fundraising. And then the mural walk, looking at adding another mural. It's on the side of Beano Building.
Mm-hmm. It's not actually part of the walk,
Yeah, but yeah.
but adding it to it?
Adding it to the.
Yeah, I know, I seen that, that's
Yeah.
good. But why wouldn't you add the big one too?
Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
what kind of started the conversation, that mural on, the new mural for the cenotaph. The one you're
Right.
talking about? Yes,
Yeah.
we, definitely, absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
so there are 3 recommendations. The council, okay, we briefly talked about that. Meet with the new CAO clerk. So the second one is the council install reverse signage to be posted at Schreiber Beach for the Discovery Center with an added QR code that links to the community map. Which is, I think, is a good idea. I've met a lot of people this summer down at Schreiber Beach. They made their way down there coming in from the east. And they made their way to the beach, following the signage. I always ask, how did you make your way down here? How did you find your way? Follow the signage, so the signage is working. Have you been to the Discovery Center is the next question. No, they didn't know about it. So, just a reverse sign to direct them. If I'm not there, They'll make.
No, it's true, yeah.
Makes sense.
And then I had asked a question about the cost of that recommendation, and it's been reported that the sign would be, that sign, that reverse sign would be about $500, and this was supposed to be a sign added to the Discovery Center, and $1,000 was budgeted that now we wouldn't use. So we would come in well under
Thanks.
what was already budgeted for that. Sorry, Dan, and option number 3?
Number 3, that was the last one.
That was the last one? Sorry.
No, the
Oh, the
number
mu- the
3
mural.
is to add the mural, the one on Vino's, but again,
And,
and the one on the side of the dollars.
Yeah.
and a dollar store. Okay. Okay,
Everybody good with them recommendations? Okay, number 10, my computer just went here. Number 10, Fire Department Activity Report, July and August.
so I have a question. Other fire 7 on your report for July and August?
That is kind of a catch-all, because if it doesn't fit in any of those other categories, it winds up in there, adding to that number. So if you take a look down at the call notes, you'll see that 6 of those were burn complaints.
Okay.
So that fine, that just gets through the court system, through
Yes, that one does.
that
Yeah.
just, yeah,
That is extremely rare.
yeah, it just seems,
It just seemed, yeah, like it seemed high to me when I looked at it, I thought, oof.
yeah,
That's because of the restricted fire zone that was in place at the time.
Yeah.
If we're talking about a bylaw ticket or infraction, it would only be a few dollars, but when the M&R lays a ticket during a restricted fire zone, it's significant.
well, as it should be.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just foolishness.
Right on, I see you're re-elected again for
Yeah,
Fire Con. so
Board Secretary.
Congrats
yes.
there. Anybody else got any questions on that one?
So how are we doing for, like, membership, Jan? So we lost someone.
Yeah, we
So-
are down right now 6 to 7 people. The core of volunteers that we have right now numbers 8 to 10 people, which is out of a 24-man department, which isn't great.
No.
There are some neighboring departments I've checked with that are kind of in the same boat we are.
Okay.
It's becoming very difficult for people to make these sort of time commitments.
So is there anything we could do advertising wise on Facebook to help you guys out, to try to recruit more people? Like, could we get Beth Ann or Evan to make up an ad and,
Yeah.
or something like that to get that on there? I don't know.
I think there's a couple things we could give a shot.
Yeah.
One of them would be that we have no real presence on the website. Like, for instance, we don't have a fire department webpage on the town website.
We don't?
We don't. Well, there's a very basic page that just lists, here's our list of volunteers. But to me, it'd be better served to have some, material on there for not only recruiting, but fire
Yeah.
prevention, public safety, the emergency measures mandated information for the public. There's a lot of stuff we could do with that.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. Recruitment.
Would you want to come up with the wording in that for advertising on our Facebook page, or
Yes, we
Or-
can do that. That's fairly easy to do.
are we gonna let Beth Ann or Kevin or
We do have
whoever
a
go?
bunch of small ones that we've used for the last couple of years, just on like Facebook and other social media accounts. So it wouldn't be hard to modify those.
That would be immediate, I think, to add them to our social media, but I think long-term, do you not think it might be a recommendation of mayor and council that we ask administration to work with the fire department to increase their presence on our website?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, 'cause there's a lot of new families in town, and you never know, there might be people interested that aren't
Mhm.
aware of anything, and if you go on our website and you can't find any, that's not very helpful either.
Yeah.
Okay, that was my only.
Yeah,
That's
good idea, no, good idea.
That's a great idea,
Good
yeah.
idea.
So do you have somebody in your department, Janet, would be willing to work with the township to get that fixed and our
Yes.
website updated?
Yes, I don't want to pre-volunteer them, but we do
No,
have a couple
okay.
of fire prevention people.
Okay.
Voluntold.
Voluntold, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 11 then. Fire chief report, Rossport Fire Protection Agreement rental. Renewal?
Yeah.
Renewal.
That's my fault.
So it's local service boards that are not allowing two-year agreements now, Jen?
Well, unfortunately, they did come back to me and correct themselves the day after I put this report in. So they are allowed to sign agreements for more than 1 year as long as they have an escape clause, and we do have an escape clause in this one. So they did come back the next day and tell me that they were willing to do a 2-year again.
Okay.
I'm fine recommending leaving this as a 1-year agreement, just because we're adding Nickel Island to it, and I would like to keep a very close watch on what happens to any costs.
Yeah,
Oh,
That's
good
fair.
point.
Yeah.
yeah, I see on your previous report, there were no call-outs to Rossport through the year, correct? Am I correct on that?
That is correct, and that's a very fine line there, because that activity report says in the Rossport Service Board boundaries, which is actually quite a small, little tiny area.
Mhm.
For instance, that highway, if somebody were to crash on the north side of that highway,
Yeah.
even right in Rossport, they're not in the Service Board
No,
boundaries
you're
there.
Yeah, so
Because
I
the Service Board
see
boundary's only on the south side.
unorganized areas, you had 23 calls, yeah,
Yes.
correct, so. Now, the equipment in the Rossport Fire Hall, then you're getting good use out of that by storing it there, it helps you?
We are,
Yeah,
and
good.
we're expecting it to get better this year with the additional of the heat to the building.
Heat to
Yeah.
the building, yeah.
Yeah.
They have hydrants on Nickel Island?
Hmm?
Do they have hydrants on Nickel Island?
No,
No, they
So where
don't
do you draw the water? Just the
Pump from the
lake?
lake?
Yeah,
pump from the lake.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or the dock house.
And the truck can make it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
yeah,
It's a trick. That's a
Yeah,
good
yeah,
question.
I
It's a
mean,
trick.
like-
no, it's especially in the winter time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. If you just, I like the idea of keeping it at a year, just to see how it goes.
With the addition of Nickel Island, I think
Yeah.
you're right, yeah.
And the door looks great there at Rossport Fire Hall. John was out there painting it, him and his son the other day.
Yeah, it's been an hour every other
Painted it.
morning painting that, so.
A good red color.
Nice.
Okay, then, we're good with that then, the recommendation. Number 12. Fire department bunker gear. Recommendation that the Council of Township of Schreiber authorize the purchase of the 2023 bunker gear from Alstone in the amount of $9,795. It was planned in the budget, so I mean, there's an overrun of $345 coming out. It's not a deal, not a big deal in my.
No,
Okay.
sounds good.
Yeah.
Number 13, multi-gas detector. You need them.
Yeah,
You
they're
need it.
useful for any time somebody's carbon monoxide alarm goes off. That's the device we need to use.
Yeah, and I agree with, you hate to say everything's throwaway, but
But in this
Pretty
case,
much.
fixing it is 60% of the cost of a new one, and
Yeah.
there's no guarantees.
okay, so we're good with that one too.
Purchase a new gas detector. Beautiful.
Oh, number 14,
You've
sorry.
been busy.
Recommendation of wall repairs and wiring replacement are planned for the 2011 Scotia Street in the 2024 and 2025 budgets, so.
So, quotations are,
Yes,
Coming.
I'm working with Tammy on that,
Okay.
getting pricing for next year.
So you want to bring that forward to us at budget time for 2024 and 2025?
That is correct, yeah.
Absolutely.
It's-
Okay.
It's time to make some decisions on that building.
Okay.
It hasn't had a real major renovation other than the roof and the floor in the attic, well, probably since the 70s, so.
Okay. Fire department report for the hose trailer. A recommendation that,
This is information, this one.
Yeah.
yeah,
This is actually a report to the Rossport Service Board that's just CC'd to you for information.
nice looking trailer.
Paul does good work, eh?
This is a conversion from an off-road trailer into a highway
Yeah.
plated trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Number 16, Aqua. Water and wastewater treatment systems report. Anything stand out, Tam?
No, everything looks good.
Anybody got any questions on it?
Computer upgrade there, that SCADA or whatever it's called, when's that gonna be done?
They have ordered all of the, computer parts. They've built the computer, the hardware part. Now, Automation Now is building the software part of it.
I thought we were just, we wanted to replace the system, right?
Yes. Cause it was
It wasn't like
operating
in
on
and
a
a box
very,
thing, no?
no, it was operating on a very old Windows
Right.
version.
Yeah,
And so,
so we
new
approved getting it.
software
Okay,
wouldn't work on that old, so that's why you've seen the increase in your budget this
Yeah.
year. So we're on target to be at budget or under, but it's taken some time to build it and get the software talking to all of the components within the plant.
okay, sorry, Tim, gotcha.
I have a question, kind of backtracking a bit, but with the power surge from the lightning strike, what was how can you protect against that in the future? Is there something that could be done, or is that just kind of one in a million type incident?
What can be in place to protect the building is in place, but when you have that large of a surge, even surge protectors will fail.
Yeah,
They have spare parts so that they can get us out of the jam, but they do everything that they possibly can to protect
Yeah,
against
so it's
that sort of event. It's just one.
just one, it's not very common,
Yeah.
so. So we're set to replace components if they,
Yes,
Yeah,
they,
so-
they have replaced, the critical parts, like the analog cards that we seen earlier on the agenda today. They did report a chlorine leak, and that was in the capital budget for 2024. So he's just getting me more concrete prices before I put the expenditure request in, but, I mean, because the leak happened, we have to deal with it right now, so, they've been trying to space out, the budget so that we can replace all the components we need to replace, you know, and not kind of drain our financials at the same time, so, I mean, they're doing the best they can in that regard.
okay. That's done.
Hearing no more questions, then we'll move into communications.
So I guess we're planning on supporting the resolution support for OHIP coverage for chronic pain. That's on here a few times.
It's on here, yeah.
No, our Noma is supporting it. Or, sorry, municipality of Shunia also is on there.
Yep.
Supporting it, so,
Municipality of
Probably.
Wawa, yeah.
yeah, so probably a good idea for us to support. Shunia is supporting Wawa, so
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's, we wanna do the same.
Sure.
Sure. That's number 2. Okay.
Hearing no more. Good with that? Move on to unfinished business then. 2023 Township of Schreiber Christmas Social. The planner.
It's just a planner that we've developed and we're bringing forward at every meeting so that council's aware of what's been done, but we are looking for a decision on the DJ services.
Looking for a decision on what, sorry?
The
DJ,
DJ services, 3 quotes are provided.
yeah.
Okay,
She's got 3 quotes.
okay, I just had the one question, it don't matter where we do our best to make sure that, the employees are off. The full-time employees are off on, that night. Like what we can, the ones that work there. I mean, they're gonna have somebody, they gotta have somebody working, I guess, part-time. But,
You asking me? Sorry. Are,
yeah,
generally
'Cause-
speaking, full-time staff is off, and we usually have the FOS people, working that evening.
okay, because I remember last year, I just can't remember what the situation was, but
It was
one
the same weekend as a major hockey tournament. This
Oh.
year it's a different weekend.
year,
Mm-hmm.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so we're a different weekend, so no
Yeah.
issues, okay. Okay, DJ quotes then.
That's what you were
Thank you.
thinking of, right?
Yeah.
Only it was hard to find, yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
couldn't remember why, but.
Is anyone familiar with the lowest quote here? That DJ?
Yeah,
I'm not familiar with any of them, honestly.
Yes, you are?
yeah.
Yeah?
I
Okay.
don't know if it would, as long as he understands the crowd, then yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, I'm familiar with all of them. It's-
Are you?
Oh, yeah. I've been
Make
to
it out more,
events.
jeez.
Yeah,
I've been to events with all of them.
they'll all be good.
Well, so what do you think? Quote, 1, 2, or 3? What does your gut tell you?
Mine tells me two.
2?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
Okay.
And if you're unhappy with what's going on, tell them to change it up.
Make sure there's no glow sticks or anything.
I don't think like people come to a function with CDs and like they can play whatever
Yeah.
you want,
Yeah.
really, you
It's
know?
not a rave. As long as that's the message, then you'll be fine.
Okay.
But I mean,
That's the cheapest one,
It's the least expensive
and competent.
and
kind
competent.
of, yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, deal done.
Okay. There.
No,
I'm good
no
with
smoke
that.
machine.
No smoke machine?
No smoke machine. Michael King Hall got smoked out. No smoke machine. Make sure Evan tells him that.
Okay.
I make a note of that.
Okay.
Were you there?
Okay, we'll move on to other business then, CFNO
The small
Christmas
ones.
advertising.
That was to determine whether council wanted to do the advertising. Last year, we did not do
Yeah.
any of the advertising.
What would they be advertising?
This is a message from the mayor,
Mayor's
Schreiber.
Bears message?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know, 2 years ago when I did it, it's 30 seconds, but holy. But you gotta fit it in there, so.
We didn't do it last year?
No, we didn't. We decided we were gonna save some money last year, I don't know why.
I
We were
know
always
why.
trying to save money.
I know
that's
why, but
always thought it was a cool thing to hear.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was nice to.
no, it's
Hear all
a
the
good way to
different layers.
send off
Yeah.
a year, really.
You
And-
can do it with a video on your Facebook page though. For free.
Ooh,
Yeah.
a video on the Facebook page.
Yeah.
That's a
that
good
works.
idea.
You can have the whole council.
Oh, it's going, oh God.
Yeah, like,
And Instagram page.
I mean, more people are gonna be
Yeah,
looking at
right.
Facebook.
I think we did something on Facebook last
Yeah.
year. Like not a full blow-up
Video.
advert or video or anything.
I think you should. I think that's a grand idea.
That's a perfect idea.
And save $400.
Video on Facebook and Instagram.
In a Santa.
Well, I
Well,
like your idea of
some-
including the entire council.
The whole council can do it.
Yeah, it was
He's
so,
fancy enough.
no, it was definitely, I heard you say the whole council.
I don't kind of speak.
Okay, you
different
taping
for
this
that,
too?
eh?
We should,
Sing.
Yeah.
we can go back and look.
You want to sing?
Actually, it's actually honestly a grand idea. I think it's just as effective.
Yeah,
And then I can forward it to all these different sites and it'll be fun.
exactly.
Okay, even though we gotta go back in camera, we gotta do that.
Oh, no. That's right.
Okay, so one of you four pick a date that's good for the four of yous, and I'll see if I'm available, and we'll do that.
A nice try.
No, we'll get together and we'll figure out a date,
Yeah.
and we'll do something then. So we're
Sure
gonna
we
say
will.
no to the radio then, do the
Yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay then. That would be the end of our business at hand in our regular council. We do have to go back. So resolution 316-23, moved by Councilor Morrow, second by Councilor Burgeot, that the closed meeting resume at this time. All those in favor? Carried.
Give me a few minutes to shut
Just,
everything
yeah,
down.
give me a few minutes to shut everything down here.
Some more water.
make sure we're not broadcasting.
Thank you, guys.
Tammy, quick question.
Hey,
So a
Mooney.
lot of these resolutions were Aqua stuff,
One more time.
Yes.
and they weren't flagged for
One more
a signature, but it looks
So you
like
wanna
they
grab
need
a
a
water?
signature.
Thanks, Jen.
Yeah, I don't
I
see
can,
it.
yeah, I can.
That's me that
Okay.
does that.